Hello YouTube, welcome to episode 4 of OP14 Improvement. Sorry for the alt tabbing that's going to be happening during this video when I'm trying to go back and forth between things. The graphics card, I believe, in my main PC, it's not working right now, so I don't have a main PC at the moment. So we're on the laptop today, so apologies for any annoying alt tabbing that will be occurring, but working with what I got now. This is the list, same list as before. I think it's very unlikely that I'll be changing this list. Again, like I said, I want to test Stussy and Guard Prevent still, but I honestly just don't think it's. I just find it very unlikely that they make the cut because you have to play Foreground Death, and I find Charlos to be insane. But yeah. So we can just get into the games real quick. Sorry, there it is. Game 1, just against Moya. We'll speed it up. Mainly showcasing here what I think the strat into Moya is, very similar to Boa. And this is not much higher than the last video, just barely over 2 bill. It's like 2.2, 2.3 to bill range. But yeah, I think this deck triggers, honestly, it has more triggers than Boa, I'm pretty sure. So I just played the Starving game. I mainly wanted to showcase how you eventually. One thing I have learned playing the OP, playing this version of the deck. Actually, when I think it's the same count, but it feels, at least in this list, that it happens way more often. Is non-searchable targets for Saturn clump way more. It feels like, so you need to be a lot more careful about how you stack stuff on the bottom, just trying to break up the non-targets so you don't get so many in a row that you eventually whiff. But yeah, I stay at 4 here just so I can pop this Kiki without him gaining life. But I mainly wanted to showcase how you eventually end the game against trigger decks when you starve them. I do think he could have played this a lot better, to be fair. We just cycle that because we need more. We're playing for the 10 cost game here, so we need all these 10 costs really. But I just wanted to show how you do eventually need to end the game against these decks, and I think there was turns where maybe I should have. I definitely think. I mean, we're gonna watch them back, but I think there's probably things I could have done better, and I'm very sure there was things my opponent could have done better. But when you play against rogue decks, the benefit is a lot of times good players aren't on rogue decks. So you can expect them to make some mistakes. To be fair, it's always said that about Anel and other things as well. It's very rare you'll play against a good quote unquote X deck player if it's not meta. So you can get lucky in that sense a lot. So we just stay at 2 here. Then my plan this turn was Saturn into Warcury. Probably just try to kill the Piranha, so we're like 7 at it. And cycle the Saturn. That was my initial plans. Then I found the Venus, and I decided I'd rather go for the bigger body this turn while I can. I'm not sure that it's correct. I think maybe I should have still just did the other play. Because I think it lets me stay a lot healthier. But this lets me potentially get rid of a bigger threat or get a bunch of cards out of hand. So it's the route I went with. And then this deck, I could poke 5 at the Piranha, but this deck does buff this every turn. So he only has to attach 2 Dawn, and I don't have a high hand size. So I do just want the extra body off the board. Cycle that. If he wants to swing at the Venus, I'm okay with it, because it's buying me time either way. I don't need the Saturn on board because I don't really need it to attack next turn. I just need to survive as long as possible when I'm playing this 10 cost game, right? We have a 1K. I do think this is it's not the worst because it buffs his cards, I guess, but like I think he would have been much better off. Pretty sure he just searched a Boa Hancock too, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what he searched with this? Yeah, I think he would have been much better off just like playing that Boa and putting me to 0. But he doesn't swing, sweep, lock, hook. I don't think his play was terrible. I just think there was better options. We'll go 10 cost, trash the Mars. I I searched the event instead of 10 costs because we still have 2 more 10 costs. So by the time we get to that one, by the time we need that one, we should be able to get to it. And I wanted to have a good card to pitch for Mars here. But I don't think I even pitched with Mars now I think about it. Yeah, because I don't want to pop Hogback and let him Perona my Venus. And then I just cycle the Saturn because I'm trying to go plus and just stay alive, stabilize for the next one. I don't need it to swing next turn, really. And we draw into a Warcry, which is pretty good. It does make stuff potentially awkward on his turn for me. I just poke 6. I don't want to. I want to play this Warcry, and I don't want to and I want to float the Dawn, so it's just as safe as possible. There there's arguments I think to just swing bigger at the Kiku and get it off the board. Because I think if he like stops swinging here, or if he like just swings his leader and doesn't swing the rest of his characters, it could be very awkward for me. That's why I think he pops that, plays Perona, makes sense. But so I think he should have just started with leader here, and arguably just not swung any of his character. Like he does not swing his opponent, so he basically decides he's okay with me killing Kikunojo. But the weird thing here is he lets me draw off the Warcuries. Whereas if he doesn't swing there, I'm in a predicament where I'm just like, okay, maybe I just play a 10 cost standing, but that feels really awkward because I'm just not getting any swings at him at all. So I think he could have just not swung. But maybe it does get really awkward for him too. So I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I think it would have been better for him to not swing. Either way, so this is how when you're in this game state and they have 5 life, it looks like you don't look too bad, but it's like how you need to end the game, right? You eventually do need to kill them. These are the turns to hit their life. When they do decide, okay, I don't want to put my character sideways because I don't have any hand to defend it. You have a lot of swings. They'll lose the whole board in their hand and have a win con basically. That's when you hit their life because they don't have a any sideways character to swing at. He has one. I can swing at that later. That's like one of my latest wins because I'm not really in threat of dying this turn. As well as he has a full board. Now Lilith, you can say doesn't really count, but I still think it does because it's still a 3K basically. So when they have a full board like this, you don't care about triggers really because they will play over their own characters. They're not as valuable. Obviously, again, it's a Lilith. Um, so it's like not that this is an improvement for sure, but it's still the same thing where I'm just like hit their face when their triggers don't do anything because they have a full board already. If they leave their board standing, obviously if they put their board sideways, you can hit it. And he does have a sideways Kikunojo here, but I have when it's one character for me to swing at, and I have multiple swings, I can use my later swings to hit it, right? Like, I'm just gonna cycle here, go to 19 and trash, and swing 10 at it. And that's gonna ask him for 3 cards out of his hand, which I'm okay with he gives me, because I don't think I'm dying. Or if it dies, we're controlling the board still. Again, he's still healthy, so it's still awkward, but we still have more 10 costs. We're still playing for the long game. Do I need counter this? I only have 2 Dawn up, so you could make an argument to add Jupiter here, but I don't think I'm dying either way, so I'm just adding more counter for the next turns. Pop Perona, because Hogback will replace itself. This Perona is a very annoying card. It's sideways, so he just pops it and says these two can't attack, basically saying you're never killing me ever. Like, it's gonna take so long. So that's what we signed up for. 8. So this is where I'm like confident he should have stopped attacking. He goes 8, and I counter. He still swings leader for sure. He goes 9, and I'm like, well, okay, now it's 2 11s. I don't have any 2Ks. I don't want to give that many cards. Also, I didn't even realize he gave 3 cards from his hand to gain a life here. I don't think there's ever a world where he should have did that. Um, but then these swings should have just not happened. Those two big guys should have just never went sideways, and I think he actually has a very good chance of winning this game at that point if that happens. Because he got what 3 cards from my hand that turn. So this is how I've been approaching it, but I still think honestly I need to figure out how to play this matchup better. Is basically what I'm saying here because I think I should have lost this game for sure. But he swung a turn where he shouldn't have swung. And made a couple mishaps. So that's the thing. Even out of like a regionals, you're not gonna play against perfect players, so you can get lucky like this for sure. I'm doing the math, and there's no way to guarantee kill both, so I'm just gonna poke 8 at 8. If he gives me a card, then I only have to attach 2 Dawn, and I still get to float 2 here. Even if I don't have the second one, I have to add another 10 cost here though because of the game state. We're not killing him next turn. Just with how this deck is and how many annoying triggers it plays. I think if you win Daiso, I can maybe not starve and just say I'll survive and just kill him after like 2 10 costs. But when I go first into this matchup, it feels like they have so much pressure if I swing, and that one extra turn it takes to play a 10 cost like gets me killed a lot. Another Perona, just an annoying top deck for him. Like very like I actually can just never kill this deck. This Perona card is so obnoxious. He goes 9. Trying to think. I feel like I block it here because I got a lucky 2K. I was prepared to give my whole hand there basically just to completely clear his board though. Just because if he swings these, I'm happy. Right? He's not allowed to swing these when he has no hand. So I block. That's definitely correct. And now, but see, the thing is now he makes a weird decision of not swinging these when he could have got like so many cards out of my hand there. Even if he loses his board on the crackback, I think at this point he should have swung him. He did it last turn. He should have committed and did it again. Um, Another Moya, so more life gain shenanigans. A trigger, of course. Hogback, I decide I'm just gonna kill the Hogback and kill whatever he plays off of it. Presume he plays Perona, and then he's gonna make it so I can't hit him with my Venus because I'm popping Perona. It's annoying. It is what it is. So the weird thing about my deck count right now is it doesn't get me to enough I share Hoshi because I need to play more 10 costs. Like, I'm still in the grind game here. But even after I share Hoshi and Saturn, I'm not actually going to get back to my 10 costs in time. I can block, I can draw. I can, obviously, if with Saturn, but that's a waste of 4 Dawn, right? So I'm not going to get back there naturally, basically. I'm going to have to play a card, which is annoying. But it's kind of what we have to do in this game state. So he plays the Moya, heals, and I do think this is basically how you approach trigger decks in general. Obviously, I think my opponent could have played better and won this game, but when I just wanted to showcase how I think you should go about closing out the game versus trigger decks. You just poke, and then when they get a trigger, you deal with it. Or if they have a full board, you let them trigger. I think this was a mistake because I know I don't have another 10 cost. I should consider the fact that it's gonna be kind of awkward for me to find it while swinging at his board since his board is so tall. I'll have to attach Dawn, and I won't be able to find 10 costs while I attach Dawn. So I think I should just 4K here, and if I 4K, that might incentivize him to just not swing these, which could also be okay for me. Because I could just sit on them another turn since I don't have 10 costs. This one, I think we just block a... No, okay, we do counter. I think I should get rid of the rush, but... I know I can find 10 costs at the end of the day. With Saturn if I have to, so it's not the worst. And then here I have to make the decision: do I Shaolia to go -1 in hand to find it? Because I know it's like the next card. It's the next card on top of my deck, I'm pretty sure, or at least know it's in the search, right? So I can play Shaolia to save Dawn while playing a Shirahoshi to place another one back while but going minus in hand to keep the 10 cost chain going. Or I can Saturn so I don't lose as much hand advantage while doing it. But I use a lot more Dawn, which makes it hard to... Makes it so I can't guarantee the Moya dies, basically. And I decide I'd rather make sure the Moya dies, and it also lets me spare Dawn for Shirahoshi to... I think I get rid of Saturn here, right? Yeah, save the rush for eventually killing. Put back another 10 cost. I should have put back like a 4K event here, or a 2K that was searchable, not Shirahoshi. Yeah, I should have put back like a searchable 2K though, Jupiter. I think, but I also don't think it's a big deal. It's a big deal in the sense that I didn't realize what cards I had left in deck. Like when I'm playing these games, I'm never tryharding so much that I'm keeping track of my deck, to be honest. But if there was no counter target there to search, that would have been really bad. So, and I do poke 6 here because I don't think we died at any trigger body. We have enough to live a split. And we do need to, kill them eventually. Slowly but surely. I promise the rest of these games aren't as grindy. It's just this matchup. It's just how this matchup goes, it feels like. And I think this was a mistake. I do end up blocking here, I'm pretty sure. I should just counter. I should 100% just counter. I just felt like I was in a situation, though, where if I counter and he stops swinging again, it's it could get awkward. where like hard to end the game because of these piranhas and stuff. But I should just counter, I think. And then I do counter this one because I'm dead to 12 if I don't. Because I have another 10 cost here, I'm just like deciding if we're going for it. So I'm just poking 6 because I want to see if he takes or if he wants to give a card. Because we definitely can threaten lethal if he just ends up taking swings. And he decides he doesn't want to let me clear the Moya, so he just takes a couple times very greedily, but he didn't feel like he could allow me to hit his board maybe, or he didn't have the 2Ks at the time. Um, but yeah, either way, that's that annoying game of a leader. Um, yeah, poke when their board is full and triggers don't matter, and then poke when they don't have any rested characters and you can deal with the trigger characters that come out. Just standard yellow deck stuff. Next game against Boa, similar thing. I was trying to just showcase how you poke against a trigger deck. I think we'll see though. I think because of that game took so long, we'll try to just speed this one up and get to specific points. Because I do remember certain things happening. He adds Femur. I do decide to search again. If he wants to jam and put me to 3, I just accept it. I debate which one I want to play here. But it's just correct to play the Searcher, I think, for sure, at first. Add the Jupiter because we're missing it. Twin 7 we'll just take. I mean, not just take, we'll just counter. Yeah, I don't you don't want to take too aggressively against this deck, obviously. Um, don't really want to pop her in because we take the life, but at the same time, maybe we should. But the way I've been approaching this matchup is, and then I am just cycling board because I'm just trying to stay healthy. And if he puddings me, he puddings me. I just kind of accept it. Because one thing I did learn while playing this deck, playing Boa, is that finding a good turn for pudding is awkward. Like if he puddings here, he's doing what, swinging 7-7 maybe, I guess, after. Honestly, not the worst, but it means he didn't play any meaningful bodies, right? So I just kind of accept it. I don't think you can really afford to play around pudding. Not to a large extent, at least. And then I do decide. So my thought process here, and I immediately forgot about it, because if that was my thought process, I'm just gonna hit it when it goes sideways. I probably should have just marsed it, to be honest. But my thought process at first was I'm gonna swing at it, and if he lets it go, I'll swing again. And if he triggers a body that's not a 6 cost, just like another Ran or a Margaret or something, then I'll just pop it. The third about that with Boa is they do trigger 6 costs that Mars can't just pop. And like I said, I forgot to stick to that strategy anyway, so I just played 2 Warcry instead of staying healthy. Not even that bad, to be honest, but I should have just Marsed the thing last turn then, I think. But either way, we just wasted a couple cards. It's fine. Then I go 5-5, and because he didn't swing it all into these Warcuries, there's an argument to just leave them standing and play 10 cost standing here, which I did think about doing. But in the end, I did decide this matchup is a race more so than other trigger decks that you starve. Like you do want a race as soon as you get to 10 Dawn, basically. So I just play 10 cost and I'm just swinging out. I will say he hits no triggers, which definitely is helpful for me. Like just no triggers. He just very. Like, it's the whole reason I stopped playing that deck. Right? You don't hit a trigger, you feel cooked. I will say I don't think any trigger there swings the outcome of this game. If he hits the Gorgon Sisters, I guess maybe, but even then, I don't really think so. So now we are at 0. So Fima's the threat. Um, I don't think we can kill him this turn though. So we're trying to set it up for next turn. So I still want to poke that Kuma just so they don't get more cards in my hand that I have to counter before they Femur. Because if they have more swings than you have blockers, they can hold their Femur and you still have to give them counter. If I go 7 at it, he lets it die. Then I think I should have just gone 7/7 at life. But I go 8 at 8. He's obviously gonna give me one card. And then after that I decide I'm just gonna go 7. But I think it should have been 7/7 from the get-go. Didn't trigger anybody again. And then I'm just gonna go 8 at 6 and 6 at 6. Once again, I don't feel like this is correct, but well, I think at this point we want to stop hitting his life because you don't want to risk a body at this point because you don't have the Mars to pop some of them that would come out. But it's like he's never gonna let it die, so arguably I should just go 7 at it and 6 at it, except 2 cards, and just play the search event because we have the math to live even double Femur here. He could make both of those unblockable, and we have the math to live. The problem is putting Femur. Um, and honestly, if he has pudding plus double Femur, I don't think there's a world where we ever live. But if he does pudding plus one Femur, we could technically get really lucky with our 5 cards. So I should just play this search event to get more bricks out of my deck that I could redraw into. I don't think that one extra card in his hand is gonna make it too much of a difference. But either way, he goes 5. We do counter because we could still live the Femurs, and we want to make him use them. And we also want to kill him next turn, so we want to have as many of these swings available as possible. He thinks and he thinks. Um, this is kind of the thing where I said they do need pudding plus femur. They one femur is just never enough. Even 2 femurs here wasn't enough. They need pudding plus femur to win this matchup. And he goes 20. I just give 4 Vince. And then he thinks for a bit and decides to go 10 because he needs me to block so I have less swings. And then I think for a bit and decide I'm just going to counter and go for game because we can't live another femur and he could very easily find one. So we're just going to go for game. I should have cycled here once he triggers this and see if I drew a ground death or a Mars to answer that blocker. But it doesn't matter. He just takes. He sucks at the trigger. Yeah, he triggered. That was his only trigger all game. And also this is what sucks about playing in this format on the sim is that they're playing this Nami, and I played against one, but as soon as I played this Nami, I just left the game because it's not a thing for our Nats. So it's just suck. Honestly, if he played this Nami at any point and it made any sort of impact, I would have just left the game because I don't care about my rating that much, and it would have just it's just bad practice for me. But I didn't even he didn't ever see it, I guess. So um, I mean, there wasn't even too much to show that game though. That was just I went second. He didn't see pudding. Kind of just wanted to showcase another reason why I stopped playing that deck, as well as this specific turn where I think I should have poked another 5 before I played the double Warcury, so I could Mars pop a trigger, and on basically against Boa, you want to pop multiple bodies in the same turn. When you go second, it's kind of harder to do that because they don't. It's harder for them to get those bodies on the board if you're starving them. But if you go first, it'll come up a lot more where you're trying to clear the board all at once instead of gradually clearing it, basically. You're trying to clear multiple bodies, so the effect of me taking a life only happens once instead of multiple times. Um, then for the next two games, we have basically OP13 matchups. This is the OP14 format, though. But because I really just wanted to showcase how I approach these old matchups, like how I've played them all of OP13, and excuse me, found the success into them that I have found. Um, sorry, had a little something in my throat. And why I love Charlo so much as a card. I did have an even better game to show against Yost, where so like I did just win dice roll against him as well, but like against an actually good player, so I could showcase that it's not just they were bad type of thing. But unfortunately, that was on my main computer, which is out of commission right now. Um, and I'm not even sure if I remembered to record that game, to be honest, which was very dumb of me if I didn't. But yeah, so I just want to showcase my general strat into Ace and how you go about it when you don't see everything. So see everything. There we just see Charlos being MVP. I don't have a worker yet, but I really want a Mars for 6. So I just take the search event. I'm not gonna play it this turn because I want to leave a Dawn up so I can stay at 4 and stay healthy. But I can play it next turn and try to find a Mars, as well as it also helps me find the worker if that we're still missing. Most matchups, again, you don't need multiple Saturn early. So I'll just cycle the second Saturn. Yamato, we just 4K. Then I'm just gonna start with search event and hope I find Mars. I don't. So I think for a bit, and I do decide. This is going a little faster than I. Okay, still 1.5. I was just making sure it's not on 2 times speed. I'm gonna swing 6, and then I have to decide what my plan is from here. Because generally you would swing 6/6, play Mars this turn, and float 1, and they would set you up very good. You got 2 cards out of hand. They drew one of them back, obviously, but it is what it is. And you'd be healthy, but we didn't see that this game, right? So it's a little more awkward. So I'm choosing between Venus and Mercury, and I decided if we can't pop it this turn, let's try to make sure we can pop it next turn, right? Or clear it next turn. So I played the the Venus, and just pass, keep one up because we don't want to. We expect these both to be 7s, to be honest, at least, and we definitely don't want to take the 2. So keep it on up to stay somewhat healthy. That way we can at least stay at 3. I like to counter the first one just in case they want to like pudding and then swing another 7. Generally, you would take the first hit, like fundamentals wise, but just decks that play pudding, I like to counter the first hit. It's not a big deal either way. It also makes him commit if he wasn't planning on swinging this Yamato sideways, then it means we just get to stay at 4. If he wasn't planning on attaching a Dawn, it means we could just 2K. So there are upsides. Yeah, he goes 7, we're taking. We see the Mars, and we top deck Mars. So now it's very simple. We just go Mars, pop Marco. And the question here is how much do we want to commit? Do we want to commit to Valkyrie? Do we just want to attach Dawn? We still need a 10 cost. Well, we stack into it, so we're lucky. I decided to just start 4. I'm down to just poke cards out of his hand. Once he cycles his Izo, I'm thinking immediately of Shirahoshi. If he ever cycles the other one, I'm just like, I want to slam Shirahoshi. Um, so there's arguments to what you could do here. You could just keep poking 5s. I could just go with 6 here, and if he lets it die, I could just play a. I could just like swing 8 with Saturn or something and play a Shirahoshi if I want to or whatever. Basically, the goal is at least when I see a lot of other emus being comfortable at 2, in this matchup. The way I play, I find I often die if I go to 2. I'm very comfortable at 3. Um, so my goal here is just how do I make sure I stay at 3 life next turn before I get to my 10 cost. And when I think about it, I'm just like, if I have 2 blockers, I'm safe. And even if this Yamato is here, it's fine. Because I can just kill it next turn with Venus and or Mars or whatever. So I just go 6 at 5 at it and then 6 at it. And if he lets it die, happy. If he gives me that many cards for it, he gave me 4 cards for it, I'm okay with that as well. And this is where I think ace players, I think taking the life is fine here. But I think once he does that, he shouldn't be swinging his board or even his leader at that point. He could start his leader if he wants to see if I block with Warcry, but I obviously am every time. When he swings both of these here, it's always just an insta block on both. So, and he made his leader an 8k while he has a 6k body for me to swing at, which I am perfectly happy to keep a 6k body. You'll see. I don't need this to be a 4k, right? So I'm just like, okay, I'll go 6 at it. I'll make this a 10. And if you want to block, that's fine. If you want to save it, that's fine. He lets it die immediately. So why'd we give 4 cards for it last turn just for like? He definitely could be playing this much better. And then I'm sitting here thinking, okay, he's an 8k leader. I can't actually attach Dawn to both my leader and the Saturn. So I'm just not going to attach Dawn to my Saturn, right? Because my leader can swing after I minus this. And you see, I was thinking between Saturn and Shaoya there. It's because I don't have another 10 cost. So I was thinking which one would I rather play if I have to find another 10 cost. And I decided I'd rather play the 1 cost because I need Dawn to attach against this. Against Ace, you need to attach Dawn for your swings basically always. So I'll go with the -1 option instead of the keep hand healthy option to save Dawn. Add Elders because it's the only one we can add, but it's honestly a good find when we're still missing 10 cost. I do consider popping this because I think I want to play Shirahoshi here. But I decided it's not worth it. I could still play Shirahoshi if I really want to, but I don't need to. I don't need to pop it. And he cycles it for me anyway. Which again, also I don't think I touched on this, but that turn where I said he shouldn't have swung, it puts me in an awkward predicament where I have 4 bodies wide, but they don't do anything because he's an 8k, and I didn't have another 10 cost, so I have to decide: am I parking a 10 cost and losing to Red Rock? Am I just accepting the loss and swinging like a couple 8s and using 10 cost, popping Yamato with Mars? It puts me in an awkward spot if he doesn't swing the Yamato that one turn. So I just realized I've just went completely like passed over that. But here, because we balanced earlier, he no longer gets a free block, which means we're just getting cards. So get 2 more cards out of his hand, and then I could bluff one. Doesn't really make sense to bluff one. I could search, kind of makes sense, or I could Shirahoshi, get another card out of hand. The awkward part about Shirahoshi in this spot is it's not guaranteed that he'll have 6 cards in hand next turn for Shirahoshi to get extra value. And that's really when Shirahoshi's good, is when you can do it multiple times, or it's at least a threat that they have to swing at. In a spot like this, I'm getting rid of a 7k potential swinger for a 1-for-1 that could potentially do nothing. But I decided to do it because if he could still have 6 cards in hand next turn, as well as it puts back a 10 cost and 4k to recycle. So I decided it's worth it. Also, if he becomes an 8k leader next turn, it can be awkward to find Dawn to attach to all of your swings, so that's one less body I'd have to find Dawn to attach. This is something that I just don't understand. Um, Again, I wanted to showcase this game just to showcase general game plan and general thoughts, but I do think this ace player could have played this a lot better. I don't know why you ever 8 cost there if you're not taking life and or playing an Uta. And you see when he does the swing, I'm sitting here like, okay, I guess he'll play Uta, and my Shirahoshi does nothing. But he just like plays Izo float one. And I don't know why we need to play Izo here. I mean, I don't know his hand, so maybe it was fine. I start with search event just because I want to see if I'm finding another 10 cost or not. I would generally want to like start with cycle, but if I find another 10 cost, I want to cycle board, and if I don't find another 10 cost, I kind of need to keep my board. But I find 10 cost, so I'm just mathing out my Don. Two Don for two eights. If he blocks one of them, I assume he blocks one of them, and then I just gotta think: I expect him to give two cards or a Rad Beam for the other one, just to play around Shirahoshi. I consider going 10 just to make it really hard for him to play around Shirahoshi. But in the end, I decided it's not worth it. I'll just swing 8, and if he wants to give me two cards, that's good enough. Or if he has the Rad Beam, that's fine. So just go 8. And I think he should just give me two cards. But I guess he's worried about me jamming into Newgate, which I was considering. If he gives me two cards, I can just go 10 at Newgate, and I'm very happy to do that. Then he has to give me two more cards, because that means he doesn't have Rad Beam. And if he gives me Rad Beam, I still can get two more cards out of his hand and make him go down to 2 in hand. So it is awkward for him. Obviously, as soon as he takes, we're just going to share Hoshi, put back 4K event, Jupiter 2K is fine. And then just thinking about how I want to do it. So I'm just going to go 6, poke one more time. Can still threaten his Newgate a little bit, but it's not really going to be worth it. Then we just play 10 costs. Deciding again if I want another searcher to guarantee another 10 cost, or if I want to keep a rusher slash warrior in hand. I don't think it's ever a 2K here. We just have to make the choice. I decide I'll probably find another 10 cost, given how many cards I've searched and how few I've seen. I don't think I've bottom decked any off of Saturns, and I do find one. A lot of this deck is just playing the odds when you're making decisions on cycle and everything. And as soon as he does this, I'm just like, okay, well, we're in a good spot. Because he's a 6K leader. He just hard played the Newgate. I immediately thought we're just gonna give two cards. I don't have the Rad Beam, but it's fine. And then if he wants to swing these, we'll block. It's not a big deal. It's kind of the same thing, except we get to draw a card. So I think it is correct to not swing them. Because it also means I have more bodies that I have to attach my Dawn across, which makes it awkward for me. But when I have this many bodies, it's like we don't have Dawn for all of the swings if we're playing another 10 cost, which we just are. Not that we have to. There's plenty of winning lines in this spot, but we just play another 10 cost is pretty good. So I'm just gonna swing a bunch of sevens. I don't have the Dawn for they'll all be eights. As well as though when he has this few cards in hand, 2K checking like this is also a real thing. It's very annoying for him, as we'll see. So he gives me a 2K like snap instantly, right? And then he thinks and blocks a bit. Then he thinks and blocks a bit, and I'm just like, okay, I don't think you have 2Ks anymore. I think he's out. Um. Also, once I 10 cost, my leader will be a 6K. Because we have 4 cards on board and 18 in trash, so we're gonna put 2 cards into trash, take one out, so we'll be at 19. So our leader will be a 6K. So we definitely don't want to waste Dawn on our leader yet. Just another 7. Don't know why. I think I chose to minus the one that's already rested in case he didn't take the life. Because then I was just gonna minus the block the one that was standing and jam big into that one into 10k. Probably like 12 or something. Probably 12 into 10 if he counters with 2 cards in hand. So he with 1 card in hand, so basically just kill the body. And if he blocks, then 12 into 8. So he's basically just not allowed to block there. Um, we 10 cost, and then we do have a small threat here. If we don't find a 4K event and he has the counter to keep all of these blockers alive, we could be dead to Roger. It is kind of awkward. Um, but I'm not too worried about it because we really just need like one 4K, and it can be in life as well. So, but we find the 4K, and I'm just like, we don't need another 10 costs at this point. I don't think. He's not next turn, so I'll just add a 4K, make sure we live. Swing 6, he's not allowed to free block, realistically. And then I'm just gonna jam 12, I think it was. Yeah, 12 at life, make that a 10k. Just to give me 2 cards plus have Roger, really for me to ever be under any threat here. And he already showed he didn't have 2Ks, so unless he drew them, it's kind of hard for him. Um, yeah, so he just blocks, lets this die. Then he goes 9 at this. I insta block because he's never allowed to swing both of these. It's just like he's dead if he does. But realistically, when I'm thinking about it, it is just math game here. I just have to swing 6 eights, 4 Dawn for these eights, 2 Dawn for my leader, and then 4 Dawn for Venus. And that's 6 eights, and he's just dead to math. But I didn't actually see that at the time because I saw a line. I'm the person when I find a winning line, I just go with it, and I didn't look for math game. So I saw just go 12. I go 12, and if he counters, obviously he's dead. If he blocks, I'm happy that the body died. If he block 1Ks, it is math. I saw that math where if he blocks 1Ks, he's definitely dead. Because then it's just 8, 8, 8, 8. Without having to include the rusher. So if I don't have the rusher, this 12 is correct. But because I have rusher, it was actually just math game and I didn't see it. But either way, it was a winning line, so I just went with it. He blocks, lets it die. Eventually, after thinking, and then he eventually scoops. Um, he could have went for a shitty Roger Lethal. He did have it, but I just have to counter a 6, right? So not even a general overview on that game. Just if you're playing Ace, can kind of show you when to not swing, I guess. But just wanted to showcase my general game plan into Ace since I haven't actually shown that on the channel. And it's still going to be a popular deck in OP14. And then lastly, we have another deck that's not going to be as popular in OP14, but it is possibly still a thing. So it's Zoro. We're doing Dice Roll again. I keep just because we have a 4K event, we have a Searcher. Warcury is a good card. 2K, a clear cycle target in Venus. Can't really ask for much more. I do decide to add 10 costs because you do need to play for multiple 10 costs in this matchup. Let me just speed this up. Cycle the Venus pass. If he swings 8, we'll counter there. You do just want to stay healthy in this matchup. He adds a 2K. I'll just give a 2K. We'll swing at this Hiyori. And then we don't have Saturn. Generally, you'd want to play Saturn on this turn and then cycle the Saturn, but we didn't have it, right? But this is where the Warcury comes in. Because So the way that works out, we don't have Saturn, and even if it found Saturn, we're in a weird spot because we can't cycle that and the Saturn. Which means we're minusing on hand advantage. Because even if he rests that swing into it, he's getting rid of a card from my hand because of the way our leader works. I do just trash the 10 cost there because we have to make the decisions. We kind of need 2Ks in this matchup. You don't want to be caught without a 2K and they find out and punish you. Um, and you can usually afford to lose one 10 cost. And then I just play Warcury here, and the thing about Warcury is you don't want to leave a board against Zoro because they can just rest and swing into it. But Warcury is free because it'll at least replace itself if they swing into it. And it also does this thing where if they have Kushiro for this turn, like they're not really, if they Cavendish Kushiro and just win 5, which is still probably the correct thing for them to do. You can still just block, and it's basically like they took a turn off from hitting you because the Warcury just replaces itself, and you didn't have to counter the 5. And if they play Tashigi and swing at the Warcury and hit your life, sure, you lose the body, you take a life, but they didn't play Kushiro. So it's really, it's not a bad backup when you don't get to Saturn and cycle the Saturn. In fact, it's the best backup. So he goes 8. It dies. They do swing at it because it'll eventually get its value if they don't. We're still digging for a Saturn. I should leader. Not leader. I'm cycling Mars from my board for leader effect here, just to play around Tashigi. And then I'm thinking what I want to get rid of here, and it's just that every time because I'm still missing. We don't want to trash the second 10 cost. I'm still missing Saturn, so I still need this Shaolia, sadly. So we're just searching, countering, yada yada. You have 6. We're never taking that. I don't know if this Odin's actually in the list. It's a 2K, I guess, so it doesn't seem terrible. I did realize after a play I could do here, I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. It's really expensive, and it only lets you do it for one turn. But a potential play here is to ground death the Kushiro and then Mars the Odin. But I think that's just so expensive. I end up deciding I'm just gonna try to find Saturn. So I play Hiyori, don't find it at a 2K. And then I'm like, okay, well, I can either trash a 2K, cycle this, and keep the blocker on board and hope he can't rest it and punish me, which still might be okay to do as well, though, because it does answer the Kushiro, so I can answer an actual body next turn. Or I can just accept the loss there and not go 2-hand minus right now and cycle that. And then if I don't play anything, it is what it is. So I just passed with a bunch of Dawn up because there's no point in playing any of these. I could have played Jupiter maybe. It wouldn't have been the worst because they can't really rest it. So at least maybe I should have played Jupiter actually when I think about it. The reason I swung here is because we still don't have Saturn. And if we have to play the rest of this game without Saturn while we play these 10 costs, we're gonna eventually lose the grind game. So I decide I need to hit him. Um so in that same vein, maybe I should be playing this Jupiter. But it's definitely awkward and not 100% sure it's correct to play the Jupiter, but I don't think it's the worst option. Yeah, whenever taking one card swings like that. I would say if we had Saturn on here, this game would basically already be over. But because we don't, it's actually a very sketchy spot. Yeah, that's another Zoro. So we know he's gonna play that and swing 7. Um, I do make the decision to take this just because I'm still trying to find Saturn. I'm like, please, just be in life, and it wasn't. So now we're in an awkward spot. I could cycle first and hope I draw into Saturn, but that's very greedy and very punishing if I don't draw it. So what I decided to do is just play 10 cost, trash a 2K, and then I'm gonna swing with the Venus, and I'll just cycle the Venus, so I don't have any rested characters like you would normally do on this turn, even if I don't plus. So I'm getting rid of two 2Ks here. Really sucks, but it is what it is. I start 7 because I'm gonna cycle this and then see what my options are. If I draw something to play for 4, like a Valkyrie or a Saturn, and I don't really care if he counters this. I have another swing. He does give me 2 cards. I cycle and I draw into Charlos. Um, I immediately decide, okay, well, I'll just win another 7. If he gives me 2 more cards, I'm okay with it. And then I'll play Charlos because having multiple blockers is not bad at this point, and it helps me dig deeper for Saturn. Still don't find it, but we have 3 blockers, 2 more 10 costs we can play. It's still a playable spot even without it. All this makes sense. He starts 5, and then it's actually really weird. This It feels so wrong to take here, but I also don't want to show him a 4K event for the 5, so I do just take. But I don't know. I didn't want to show him that I didn't have any natural counter and just give him a 4K event for a 5. So I just took. I still don't even think it's that bad, but it's definitely awkward. He goes 8. We're definitely countering that. Then I don't really agree with his swings here. I think it definitely should have been 779 if you wanted to do it like that. We're still just gonna not attach Dawn because we want to keep our options open since we're still missing Saturn. We might spend another 4 Dawn on this Valkyrie, which is 4 Dawn for 10 cost, 4 for Valkyrie, and 2 for these events. So no Dawn to spare really. We go 7-7. He gives me 2 2Ks. It's fine. Let's go 6 at it. It dies. Still no Saturn. Trash your Hoshi, KO that. KO the Queena. Play another Valkyrie. We're actually in a decent spot even with no Saturn. It's just definitely awkward. We could try to just kill him next turn. It's a possibility, but because we have another 10 cost, I don't believe there's a world where we don't draw another Saturn here. Like we don't draw Saturn next turn. Um, so I just block, let that die, block. I just decide I'm not gonna take it, lose any cards to my hand this turn. I'll play another 10 cost, hopefully draw Saturn. I finally do. I don't know how many cards we had left in deck. I think it was like 10, but we finally drew it. We had 8. Yeah, all 4 Saturns in the bottom 9 cards of our deck. Lovely. Um, but here we're just putting him on the clock to kill him next turn, right? Or you could try to play the Valkyrie here, but I have 4 events in hand, right? Why would I do that? I just want to keep Don up for the events. He like has to kill me here. Um, Spoilers, he doesn't do shenanigans. I could probably counter a lot of these wins better, but he's at 1 life, so I'm just like, it doesn't matter. He's dead. Um, and yeah, so I just wanted to showcase a couple of OP13 matchups that I found in the OP14 meta, since I haven't shown those on the video on my channel before. Really, aside from the Chinoise Cup, kinda, but yeah. So that was those. Sorry, it's for a little bit lower quality as far as the recording process is concerned and everything. Um, TLDR Moria. Just wanted to showcase how to swing into triggers. Boa, kind of the same thing. Ace, how I approach the matchup and look at my turns and when I'm countering, when I'm not, and how when I'm floating Dawn. Shihoshi, all of that. Zoro, I guess How to Win Without Saturn. um, appreciate y'all. I'll try to get some newer uh matchups or actual points like the series is meant to be at the start at some point again, but it's just harder when I'm playing a deck I've already played. I have to kind of figure out when it's stuff that's worth showing and when it's stuff people would already know. Since I'm not actually learning the deck right now, I'm learning new matchups kinda. It's a little different than when I was learning how to play Boa. Um, but at the end of the day, the series is just about showcasing my OP14 development. Again, it's kind of awkward when it's kind of partly due to my OP13 development, but I think there's still stuff worth showing. And again, there's you can always feel free to ask questions or give any input in the comments. I'll stop dragging it on now. Appreciate y'all. Peace.